Alyssa Thomas jumping on Caitlin Clark. What the fuck?
The backlash following Alyssa Thomas's recent suspension over what was described as a violent racist attack on Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of unbelievable. It appears the pressure became too much for her to handle. Instead of accepting responsibility for what happened, she chose to play the race card during her post-game interview. She placed the blame on Caitlin Clark's supporters, accusing them of racism. According to her logic, if you're watching this video, there's a 99% chance you're a Caitlin Clark fan, which apparently makes you a racist as well. Thanks for clearing that up for everyone, Alyssa Thomas.
Those guys, they're the racists, when really, y'all are the racists.
It's hard to believe someone could ignore Clark's incredible accomplishments and claim that the only reason people believed Alyssa should have been suspended was because of skin color. But what exactly did she say that landed her in this situation? Why has so much of the public turned against her? And is there any chance the league could eventually forgive her? Let's dive straight into everything that happened.
We all know what this really is. It's an attack on Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's the wrong face for this league because her fans are so racist.
It looked like Alyssa Thomas completely lost her composure during the post-game interview.
It was our defense in the third quarter. We knew we needed to come out with a good energy. We knew that they probably weren't happy with their first half, and they threw the first punch, versus the first half we threw the first punch. So
everything changed the moment a reporter finally asked about her performance. Rather than address the obvious issue, her disappointing showing during the playoffs, she immediately shifted the conversation by accusing Caitlin Clark supporters of racism. She didn't simply mention dealing with hateful comments on social media or say that a few internet trolls had crossed the line. Instead, she broadly claimed that Clark's entire fan base was made up of racists who were damaging the mental health of Black athletes.
This is a different angle of the play.
Caitlin.
Watch this. Look at that. Look at her. Put her fist and her forearm into Caitlin Clark's neck on this play right there, and then uses her fist to get up.
The reporter's expression made it seem like she had been waiting for the right opportunity to raise the subject. It almost looked as though Alyssa had been hoping someone would ask about her poor performance, so she could completely redirect the conversation. No one challenged her claims or even asked her to provide evidence.
Instagram and Twitter, these are choices we make. There's an easy way. The league doesn't have to get involved. The Indiana Fever don't have to do something to get you away from social media. Put your phone down. Don't download the apps. Don't engage.
Everyone simply allowed the conversation to continue. Rather than discussing her disappointing performance, the spotlight quickly moved away from the game and onto this newly created controversy. Suddenly, the story became Alyssa Thomas versus Caitlin Clark's fanbase. It was remarkable how quickly she managed to change the narrative, transforming herself from the focus of criticism into someone presenting herself as the victim of racist supporters.
Well, now they found another victim, the fans of Indiana. Now, I'm going to side a little bit with these idiots. I'm going to side a little bit with Alyssa Thomas, who said she is the latest WNBA woke gas bag to rip Indiana Fever fan over alleged racism, demanding the franchise and league do something about it. What do you want them to do?
But that raises an important question. Was this a calculated attempt to distract people from the criticism surrounding her performance, or was it simply an emotional reaction in the moment? Speaking publicly, Alyssa Thomas said this was the first season in her 11-year career that she had experienced this type of treatment. And who did she point the finger at? The Indiana Fever fanbase, the same fans who have supported Caitlin Clark ever since her remarkable rookie season began. But the real issue is this. Did she actually provide any evidence to support those claims? The answer is no. Not a single piece of proof. Nothing at all. She broadly accused the entire Fever fanbase of harming her mental health because of Caitlin Clark's popularity in the league. Yet she didn't point to a specific incident, a single example, or even one questionable social media post to support what she was saying. Alyssa.
But who gives a rat's ass? Seriously.
Caitlin Clark is Kunta Clark. She's the actual slave that everybody else is exploiting for their benefit. Angel Reese included at the top of that list. Now Alyssa Thomas jumps in and says, let me get my piece.
Now, let's look at the timing. After losing such an important game, Dr. Rowe appeared determined to change the focus of the conversation. She knew reporters would likely ask why she had been outplayed on the biggest stage of the season or why she struggled when her team needed her the most. Instead of facing those questions, she pulled off the ultimate distraction by blaming Caitlin Clark's supporters, hoping everyone would forget about her performance on the court. Yes, that's exactly what happened. It was almost as if
you got people in a room, if you got a bunch of dudes in a room and says, let's fuck up the WNBA, we couldn't have came up a master plan what these women have done.
But this is where everything starts to become much more questionable. By attacking Caitlin Clark's supporters, Thomas wasn't just criticizing her fan base. She was also indirectly suggesting that Clark herself was the source of the entire problem. In a subtle way, she was casting Clark as the villain in this situation, implying that Clark's growing influence was responsible for bringing all of this negativity into the league.
Talk about this thuggery, a goon attack, hoodlum activity, straight up hoodlum. I've lost my mind activity. Alyssa Thomas flat out targeted Caitlin Clark. The Phoenix Mercury targeted Caitlin Clark throughout this game, which appears to have led to some major injuries. This is nasty work.
It's a smart way to damage Clark's image without openly attacking her character. And it's worth remembering that there has already been tension between the two players in the past. Alyssa Thomas delivered what many described as one of the hardest screens imaginable on Caitlin Clark after an earlier incident had already created friction between them. This wasn't an ordinary basketball screen. Fans watching live immediately gasped, believing Clark might have suffered a serious ankle injury or something even worse. And how did the referees respond? They called Thomas for an aggressive foul and then simply moved on as if nothing significant had happened. Clark, who is known for racing around the floor with incredible speed, never saw it coming and crashed hard onto the court. There was no review and no consideration of a more serious penalty.
The WNBA, because it's a woke league and because it's leaned into people directing their hatred of Caitlin Clark at Caitlin Clark fans.
Even several WNBA analysts, including Dean Terasaki, openly criticized the way the entire incident was handled. She stated clearly that Thomas should have been ejected because of the reckless play. But did Clark make a scene afterward? Not at all. She got back to her feet almost immediately, flashed her trademark smile to the crowd, and even gave a wink, letting everyone know she was fine and refusing to let the moment affect her. That simple reaction became another memorable Caitlin Clark moment and only strengthened the admiration her fans already had for her. While everyone else was furious over the questionable officiating, Clark remained calm and composed.
And it comes as a byproduct of, Caitlin, I love you to death. But girl, if you don't work on that defense, you ain't winning no championship.
But that's when Alyssa's situation really began to unravel. After she released a statement as well, Clark supporters became even more upset and made sure she faced heavy criticism across social media.
They fired her. They kicked her off the game because it's Caitlin Clark and she can't do that game.
Instead of accepting responsibility for a play that could easily have injured one of the league's brightest young stars, she began presenting herself as the victim, insisting that all of the backlash was motivated by race rather than her actions on the court. Fans strongly disagreed because, in their view, race had nothing to do with the criticism. To many people watching, it was obvious that she was refusing to be honest about what had happened.
She had to go to the NBA because of players calling all kinds of nasty racial names to Caitlin Clark, white bitch being the most of. I mean, that's the players. Now they sit up there, the one idiot.
But Alyssa showed no interest in taking accountability. Instead, She doubled down on her accusations and continued pointing fingers in an effort to distract from the reason she was being criticized in the first place. For a brief moment, it almost seemed as though the strategy might work, pulling Caitlin Clark's name into the controversy and creating the impression that Clark supporters were organizing a coordinated racist attack. But in the end, it was nothing more than a smokescreen. Let's be honest. The real cause of this entire controversy was Alyssa's unwillingness to accept responsibility for both her reckless play and her disappointing performance. Instead, she chose to use controversy as a shield against criticism.
Caitlin Clark came in as the most impactful player that the WNBA was seeing as a rookie based off of what we saw in college, from both off and on the court, whether it was attendance, viewership, to her on the court with the scoring and assists. That's how she was when she was drafted. She exits her rookie season as exactly.
What makes the situation even more unbelievable is that this decision only made things worse for her. Instead of limiting the fallout from one game, she turned it into a much bigger controversy. She appeared to believe that creating another headline would make people forget the first one, but it only brought even more attention to herself. And it wasn't just fans reacting. Many sports analysts and journalists, along with former WNBA stars Lisa Leslie and Cheryl Miller, shared their opinions online, describing Thomas's hit as extremely unsportsmanlike and clearly dangerous. Commentators across the sports world weighed in as well. On ESPN's The Jump, the panel analyzed the play frame by frame, while Rachel Nichols offered sharp criticism, saying you don't set a screen like that unless you're trying to send a message or hurt someone. The following day, nearly every major sports show discussed the incident, with commentators on Around the Horn debating the play, while countless other hot-take programs argued over whether Thomas should have received a harsher punishment or even been ejected. Then even more fuel was added to the controversy. Never one to stay away from drama, Reese took to social media and her own platform to defend Thomas while criticizing Clark's fanbase, as Angel joined the debate and pushed the story even further. Share your opinion in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on all notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video after you click the one on your screen.